Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our session this afternoon on digital parenting, what parents need to know. My name is Sally Reynolds from the Media and Learning Association, and together with my colleague Chloe Payet, we're really delighted to welcome you to this session this afternoon. Those of you who have joined us in the past, you know that we really love if you can keep your cameras on, but please keep your microphones off for the duration of the session. We will have an opportunity for discussion, for questions and answers. Please feel free to put any comments or any questions into the chat, and we'll make sure we have time after each of our speakers to put your questions to them, and hopefully also a chance for a discussion at the end on this really important topic around parenting and digital tools and the use of digital services. I also want to just tell you that we are recording the session this afternoon, and we will also make available the presentations if we get them from our speakers that we will share with you as well. So I think without too much further ado, we will get started. I'm very happy to introduce you to the agenda this afternoon. We are delighted to have Yvonne Skipper joining us from the University of Glasgow, first of all. Then Mariya Stoilova, who's coming from the London School of Economics. Jeroen, Herman and Karen Linten coming from Mediawijs here in Belgium, talking about the MediaNest program. And then last but by no means least, Nils Rudolf from SFM in Germany. So they all have lots to share and lots to discuss with you. So I'd like to go quickly and start with Yvonne. So Yvonne, over to you. You're going to talk about truth, trust and online safety, supporting young people in a digital world. So Yvonne.
Just going to share my screen.
There we are. We have you on screen and we just need to get your slides up. And they're there. Just go in full screen for us. Thanks, Yvonne.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's really nice to be joining you. I'm in Glasgow and it is actually sunny here for the first time in forever. We actually do have a blue sky like this, which is very rare. Usually I'm coming to you from and everybody else is enjoying the sun. So it's great to be here today. This is kind of AI lying. It's not usually like this, but we like to have that blue sky. So today I'm going to be talking to you about Project Real, which is an intervention which we've developed, which is mainly focused around how we can help young people and their parents to spot misinformation. So just a very quick background. So we know that misinformation is a big challenge. It's been ranked as one of the top risks facing the world today, and it also underlies a lot of the other risks facing our world. So things like climate change, there's a lot of misinformation in that area. Issues around social and political polarization, there's a lot of misinformation there. So we know that, the ability to tell what is real and not real is really important in terms of, helping our planet and our future in our society. And we've had what's been termed a fake news pandemic, where misinformation is impacting not just our beliefs, the things in our minds, but also our behavior, particularly around things like healthcare and the environment. So these are kind of big challenges, and it's something that I think we need to really think about how we can work together to help to solve some of these problems. So I'm going to start with a little quiz just for fun. This is taken from some of our materials, so you can see what what has been done. But just out of interest, just to see how you get on. So I want to see how much you personally know about misinformation. So here's my first question. If you were to rank yourself on your personal ability to recognize fake news or misinformation, do you think you're in the top 75% of people, the top 50%, the top 25 or the top 5? So if you want to, you can put an answer in the chat, just to see how good you think that you are personally at recognizing misinformation. I'll give you a wee second to do that. If you don't want to play, then that's fine. But if you'd like to put your thing in the chat, then that's grand. Top 50, 50, top 50. Yeah, okay. So a lot of people saying top 50, top 25. Oh, Chloe, yeah, well, you work in this field, so you should be, yeah. Okay, obviously I don't know how good you are, but I am going to just point out the fact that spotting misinformation is like driving, and everybody thinks they're in the top 50%. We are all better than average in our own minds at spotting this, right? So nobody ever says anything lower than top 50%. Next question for you. What percentage of people can systematically, accurately tell true from fake news? This is from one relatively large scale study. So do you think it's 4% of people systematically can tell this? 10% of people, 50 or 75? So we've got 10, 4, 10, 4, 4. Yeah, so we're also rating ourselves quite well here. The answer is top 4%. So only 4% of people can systematically accurately tell true from fake news. Next question, which of these following statements is true? Is it true that true news spreads quicker than fake news? Is it true that true and fake news spread about the same speed? Is it true that fake news spreads 2 times quicker than the truth? Or does fake news spread 6 times quicker than the truth? So you can maybe just do A, B, C, D for this one. That might be easier. Yep, Chloe's saying 6, the same, 6 times. Yeah, you guys have seen this paper. Yeah, so some people suggest it's spreading 6 times quicker than the truth. Here's a quick question. How often do people believe fake news? 10% of the time, 25% of the time, 75% of the time, or 90%? 90% of the time? 90, 75, 90, yeah, okay, very high percentages. The answer is about 75% of the time. So if you've seen one fake news item, probably 3 have got past you. 2 more quick questions. If I wanted to make an audio clip of you saying anything I wanted you to, how many seconds of audio of your voice would I need to do that? 3 seconds of audio from you, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or 60 seconds to make an audio clip of you saying anything I want? 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, you're all right. Yep, it is very small. So I'm sure a lot of us are academics or in other teaching roles. There is many more than 3 seconds of my voice on the internet, which anybody can use. And last question, on TikTok, how long does it take people to see harmful content even when they're not trying to find it? So this is, you're on there looking for your cat videos, you're not searching anything. How long does it take to see potentially harmful content? Less than 30, a day, a week, or do you not see any if you don't look for it? Yeah, less than 30 minutes, you're right. And this is including accounts which are assigned to children. So that was a little example of some of the materials we've been working on with our young people. And Project Real is all about how we can design interventions. A lot of these, the ones that have been designed so far, have been targeted at adults. There's some really great stuff there for adults, like Cranky Uncle and the fake news game and all sorts of different things. But there's not been as much work on designing things for young people. And a lot of the ones that have been designed for young people have been designed at young people rather than with them. So we wanted to actually have them involved in the design of it, what they wanted to learn about, how they wanted to learn it. And we also didn't want it to be on a specific topic. So some of the misinformation things are focused on inoculation. So the idea that if you tell people about, something to do with misinformation, then they can, they're kind of inoculated. So when they see it again, they're prepared. So you expose them to a weak form, you give them information, and then they're ready when they see it in the real world. But that obviously really helps in that field, but it maybe doesn't help in some of the other fields. So we wanted it to be not about a specific topic, and we wanted to really work with the young people themselves. So we co-create it with them, we work with them to find out what the problem is, how they want to learn about it, and we focus on the skills more so around misinformation. So what do they need to be able to do to spot the true and false information? And so we designed what we call the first Project Real, which is all about helping young people uncover the truth in a world of misinformation. And this is aimed at young people aged 11 to 13. And we spoke to them and we said, what worries you? How do you want to learn? And they said, we really don't want to learn from our teachers or our parents or academics. These are all boring. We want to learn from influencers. So we were like, great, let's get influencers involved here. So we worked with the young people. We worked with social media influencers. And we created this intervention, which has 6 sessions, which are freely available online. You can take a little look at them if you'd like. And they're around things like fake news, fake photos, fake people. So who are you speaking to online? Fake stories, which is conspiracies. Fake videos, so spotting edited videos, and keeping it real. So bringing all of these things together. And we found that this intervention has been quite useful in terms of raising kids' confidence and skills. And it has also helped them to just be a bit more critical of things when they're online, so they know how to find, true and false information. They know what they're looking for. And although this was designed as a kind of school-based workshop, what we ended up doing was doing parents versus kids as a couple of online workshops, which was very interesting because, well, yeah, maybe you can guess, do you think the kids or the parents were better at this? If you want to put it in the chat, do you think that the the parents or the kids were better? Kids, yeah, kids. Yeah, okay, so what I will say is the kids were really, really good at the tech. They got Photoshop, they got, edited videos. They were like, oh, look, that person's got an extra hand, no shadow, that sort of thing. But the parents were much better at the peopling, trying to get in people's heads. And what was really interesting as well is that they all, like we did, thought they were better at it than they were. So the fact that we kind of positioned the parents as learning to help their kids, we're not teaching you, we're teaching you so you can support your children, that actually got a lot more buy-in. And the same with the kids. You're not learning this for you, you're learning it because you're protecting your friends and your parents and you're helping them to get better. So creating this sort of space where everybody's learning together, where people are sharing, that seemed to lead to positive outcomes. Then in the second phase, we worked with the police because they were interested in not just kind of misinformation on its own, but how this is linked to crime and online safety and what kids are able to do and how they're engaging in online spaces. So again, we worked with young people, but we also worked with the police in this intervention. And it's aimed slightly older, this one, because it's 13 to 16-year-olds. We're talking about cyber crimes and online safety and things like that. And with them, we created 3 sessions, which is the real me, which is your digital footprint, how much information about you is available online, the real information, so telling true from false information, scams and things like that, and the real connection, who are you speaking to? How do you know that is the person they say they are, and what could you do to check and tell if these people are real or not? And like the original one, the kids wanted lots of interactivity. They did not want to listen. They wanted to be doing. Didn't want to listen to their teacher. They wanted videos. They wanted interactive activities. So the first, the original one was videos and interactive activities. The second one has different interactive activities. So here we have a social media post made up, and the kids can explore this a little bit. So you can click on the different pictures and you can think a little bit about if this person is who they say they are. If they were to friend you, what would you do? How much information can you find out about this person online? Incidentally, that's an AI generated image. That's not a real person. So that's how good some of these AI generators are now. And the idea in this intervention is that we've got a lot of interactive activities where kids are exploring the information and trying to find out whether they think it is true or not, and what that might mean if they're believing true and false information. And this one here, actually, if you click on it, you can roughly work out where he lives. This is his bus to school, and this is the view from his window, and here's some graffiti he's been doing as well. So you can explore that. And through this project, the kids said to us very much, it was very funny in the co-creation. I said, okay, what would you do if something happened online, you didn't like it? I said, I'd tell a trusted adult. I said, great. Okay, so who's a trusted adult? My mum. Okay, right. So would you tell your mum? God, no. I'm like, right, okay, so let's start again. Like, what would you actually do? And what was really interesting to me was that they knew what they should say, but they absolutely wouldn't take those actions. So they really worried about speaking to parents, particularly because they worried that their parent would get mad at them, that they would lose access to the tech. They were like, if my mum takes it off me, I can't fix it. So they were very, very focused on, how they might need to have these conversations. And so through this, they asked us if they could create a video for their parents. And what they wanted this video to do was to be what I wish my parents knew about my online life. And I've actually got the video with me today. This is a world premiere of this video. It was just finished yesterday. It's only a very short video, but I'd like to share it with you all just to show the sorts of things which were coming out through this research with the kids. So we said to them, this is the video they wanted to create. The question is, what do you wish your parents knew about your online life? They created the script, and then we edited it and helped them to create this video. So here it is. I hope it's working. Please wave at me, Chloe, if the sound doesn't work, okay? Thanks.
I wish that my parents knew that talking to people online is me being social.
I'm communicating positively with my friends online and we're just having fun.
I can relax, explore who I am online, and try out different things.
I am doing my schoolwork and learning about interesting things online.
I'm online a lot. I know what I'm doing and I want you to trust me.
Sometimes I do need your help, but I worry how you will react when I tell you what has happened. I wish you would listen to me, try to understand what happened and my point of view. Be open-minded.
I want you to stay calm and not get mad and not blame me. It's not always my fault.
Instead of being disappointed, help me find a way to do something about it.
I want you to show an interest in what I'm doing online, and I want to share some of what's going on in my online life.
Sometimes it's easier to talk to my friends or big siblings because they've been through it. They're the same age and know more because they're a different generation.
Don't worry if I told someone else first. I wanted to find a more neutral person who doesn't have expectations and who won't be disappointed in me.
If it's something embarrassing, I don't want to tell you because it can be weird. Sometimes I don't know what you'll say.
You can't always just leave it. It's like walking away during a conversation. It can be rude and sometimes it makes it worse if you don't reply.
Things can quickly spiral and escalate online. Someone might say one thing and the next day everybody knows. I feel like I need to act fast to sort it out before it gets worse.
Don't take my phone off of me. Taking my phone off of me doesn't take away from the problem. Instead, I might need your help with how to respond.
I wish you would get informed about what I'm trying to tell you about. It's a different era, and things are just different now.
Don't tell other family members, or make it bigger than it needs to be, like it's the end of your life.
I wish you would not always take things so seriously. Most of the things I see online are innocent, sweet and funny.
In the end, I'm going to grow up anyways. You can't protect me all my life, so help me learn how to protect myself.
Instead of taking my tech or social media away, I want you to explore and discuss with me what can and can't be done online.
I can teach you things too.
Okay, so that's our world premiere of our video, and you can hear there the kids' voices and all the things they want to tell their parents about. Thank you, about their online lives. So I know that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but sorry, I'm stuck on the video now. Oh, no. There we go. You don't want to watch it again? Well, you might do, but I can share the link with you in future. So along with this video, we're going to be developing a discussion guide activity for parents and young people. So questions to ask your parents, questions to ask your kids, and how to ask them in a way that's hopefully going to have these open conversations going on. So all of the project materials I've talked about today are freely available at projectreal.co.uk. They're focused at schools, but we have had, as I said, parents working through them, and we do have guides, and we will have kind of going forward more guides for parents. So if this is something you're interested in co-creating in an area around this, you know, with your groups or things like that, please do get in touch, because we're always looking to work with different people and see what sorts of things we can do. We've got these videos. We've also got a comic coming out soon. So we're really happy to try and find different formats and different ways to present this sort of thing in an engaging fashion. I think that's about 15 minutes, Sally. Is that right?
Absolutely. Spot on, Yvonne. I'm always going to set my watch by you exactly 15 minutes. That was really interesting. Thank you so much. And listening to the kids talking about what they want to say to the parents is kind of fascinating, because it just makes such a lot of sense. I don't see any questions at the moment coming from the audience. I think they're still absorbing just the whistle stop tour indeed. And it's great. Thank you that you share the resources. When you say you're keen to work with others, you don't just mean in the UK, I guess. You're interested in people in other parts of the world as well.
No, not at all. We have a Project Real Miami, which will be starting in May. So we're interested in working in different organizations, different countries and things like that. So yeah, that would be brilliant, you know, to work in different groups.
Yeah, I was also just wondering, in terms of recruiting parents, because you are recruiting parents for those workshops, how do you do that? Is that through the school, or how do you do it?
We've done them with the schools, and we have also done it online, just with like Eventbrite and things like that. I'm doing a psychology in the pub talk coming up. So, you know, just we kind of try and publicize it in lots of different ways. So it's not always the same schools that we're working, you know, in broader senses, you know, across the UK and things like that.
Yeah, Chloe's just asking how enthusiastic were the students in sharing their opinion? Were
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. In the co-creation, we have to work with we spend a lot of time with the young people, because they need to trust us. They need to feel safe. You can't go in on day one and go, tell me about this stuff, you know. So we spend some time getting to know them, making sure that their voices, their questions are the heart of things. So it tends to start off a bit slower, and then as they come to trust you, that's really, you know, that's where you start to get the true insight. So it is authentic co-creation. We don't create things and go, what do you think? We ask them, you know, we work it up from the ground up, we create things, we share with them. And I think that's what makes the material so engaging, is because the kids themselves have created it. They're like, they said to us, don't use youth slang, it's not cool. I'm like, okay, understood. this whole work makes me feel like I'm ancient. But
Yeah.
it is great to hear their voices, and they, you know, once they get going, they really do want to share. They want you to know what their issues are.
Yeah, yeah. Rebeb, I see you've got a question. Stick on your mic.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Rabeb Alwi from Tunisia, and I'm a director of a fact-checking platform called Check. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for your presentation. Really, this is insightful. And sorry, I will take some ideas from you. It's really amazing what you just did. And I have a question regarding like the area of misinformation targeting these kids or children. Specifically, what kind of disinformation you reflected during your work? For example, in Tunisia, if I can share my example, when I checked like the platforms, there is a lot of misinformation, disinformation regarding migrants and young people and children, and are so confronted to this kind of disinformation. So I would love to hear from your own experience, Yvonne. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Rebeb. Yeah, got that, Yvonne?
Yes, so great question. We've actually, I've asked the kids, you know, I did a separate kind of project, and I just said to them, like, what is misinformation? And as far as they're concerned, misinformation is scams to get your money and world events. And it doesn't exist in any other space. So that's interesting in and of itself, because they say, because I'm on Instagram and it's just people's lives, I don't see it. So it's very interesting that they have this kind of, this is a very specific view. They don't think about all the misinformation they might be taking in about, you know, their favorite band or, you know, these sorts of things. So yes, you know, there is misinformation in all these different areas, but I think they're more primed to think of it as being misinformation. And one of the things we've done because of the kids is they said they kind of didn't want, because this is about skills development, they didn't want us to have loads of examples about really political and polarizing and negative things in the classroom. So the examples we have are quite light. You know, there's kind of funny examples and ones that are maybe like, you know, spoofs, and maybe ones that, you know, there's like a video of somebody and it's like these little ducks and they stopped across the road, and it's like a funny videos to show you, you know, so because we didn't want this to turn into everybody arguing in a political thing, the kids said, let's learn the skills in a kind of safer place, and then we can take them into these other spaces. And that was something the teachers said as well, that it made it a bit gentler for them to have the conversations and then move it into those spaces as well.
Yeah, learn how to have those discussions, indeed.
Yes, exactly.
Yvonne, thanks a million. There's a question in there for you as well, too, about gender and bias. If you could just respond to that from Antonio, I think it is, from Antonio of Miasa in the chat, that'd be great. And Antonio, maybe we come back to that a bit later, but I'd like to move on, if we could, to Mariya Stoilova, who's research officer in the London School of Economics, and she is going to talk about parenting for a digital future, focusing on digital literacy and mental health. Mariya, we see your slides.
Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I spent the last 20 years researching families, and the last 10 specifically in relation to the digital, and about the same time being a parent myself. So I'm going to try to synthesize what I've learned from the evidence that we as parents can think about in our parenting styles. So sorry, it's a bit slow. The slides are not changing at my end. Okay, yeah, it's moving now. So the first slide that I have here actually shows that children are online in kind of any context across the world. They're the one that tend to kind of adopt new projects, new kind of platforms faster than the adults, which kind of creates the notion that they are the knowledgeable and they're kind of the digitally savvy, but that's not really true because they are tackling an environment that wasn't designed for them. It was actually designed with adults in mind. And children need the support from their parents and adults around them, even though they tend to be online. There's a lot of issues that they're experiencing, and parents are rightly worried about this. So some of the issues that we are hearing in the public sphere is the concerns around children's digital engagement, and specifically around screen time, how much time children should be spending online, and what is it at the expense of if they're online, what are they not doing elsewhere, and especially around social media. You've probably heard that Australia, for example, banned children under 16 from social media. Other countries are kind of having similar advice, and I'm know that over 100,000 parents in the UK have signed a petition for banning under 14s from social media. There's a lot of concerns, but I think this kind of ways trying to fix things, as Yvonne was saying, and the young people in her video were saying, are actually kind of distracting us from a more productive dialogue where we could have with children about their positive ways of using and engaging with digital technologies and the benefits of that. So just being a bit slow at my end for some reason. So a lot of the concerns that we are having actually relate to the effects, supposed effects on social media, on young people's mental health. And there's a lot of discussion about that. But actually, when we have looked at the evidence, and here I'm showing a report that was launched last month, and there's a blog related to it for those that are not really kind of into reading long reports. But this report actually looks at the effects of different aspects of digital engagement on mental health and well-being of young people. And it actually found that there's a complexity in this relationship and it's not straightforward. And while some adolescents will experience positives in their well-beings, others will experience negatives. So it's not really kind of one fix for everyone here that we can see and recommend for that. So I wanted to very quickly tell you about several projects that we have done. I'm not going to focus on the methodology, just kind of briefly flag them to you. This is a very large survey in 19 countries with over 1,500 children. But the important part that I wanted to show you here is what we are studying in relation to children's digital lives. And this is a diagram, and you can see how busy it is. But all these are factors that actually affect the way that your child will engage online. So if you look at the purple box, this is what happens online. The practices are the kind of things that they do online, which matter. The digital skills that they have are the other aspect that matters for them. And then the opportunities and the risks that they will face online. These are the things that actually matter. And interestingly, we see that the more time children spend online, the more opportunities they face, but also more risks. So by reducing the time they spend actually online, you're reducing the opportunities, you're reducing their learning. But as you can see, there's all sorts of other things that influence children's well-being at the end and their digital engagement. So the child's identity and resources, what they have in their personal life, how resilient they are, how knowledgeable they are, how supported they are in their environment, how strong their self-efficacy is, which is kind of believing in oneself that you can do well. These are kind of things that are not related to the digital engagement, but they actually inform the way that children engage online, the way that they deal with the risks that they're facing online. So it's important to kind of see their digital world in relation to everything that's happening around them. So the blue box is the individual, and you can see that there's all sorts of other boxes around it. So the social level is the red box, where you see family, educators, peers, community, digital ecology. Digital ecology means kind of the way that the digital environment looks and kind of supports the young people. But parents are in the family box. They're an important source of information and support for young people, but so are their friends, so are their educators. So I think parents need to kind of see their other opportunity to support children. And in fact, when you are teaching your child to do something well online, you're teaching many children, because children reach out to their peers when they're in trouble. So if one child knows how to react, they can pass it on to others. So there are other kind of sources of support, and parents, I don't think, should feel that they're the only kind of resource for young people, but they're definitely a very important one. So another thing to bear in mind, how important it is to speak to young people about their digital engagement, is because we have something we call a ladder of opportunities. And what that means is that some of the activities that they would do online are easier to engage in, while others are a bit more difficult, and not all the children will get to those. So for example, socializing online, or watching videos, or learning by searching, these are the kind of easy things to do. But the higher you go on the ladder, the more difficult these opportunities are, and the more children need to be encouraged. For example, looking for health information is kind of in the middle of the ladder, which means that not all the children will do that, and it's an important source for them. So they need to be encouraged to be able to get to that kind of level of benefit. And you can see at the top of the ladder are things like participating in campaigns or creating things online or looking for resources about the neighborhood. So these are important things for their civic participation, for their rights for expression, or their creativity online. And not everyone does that. And it's important for us as parents and as researchers as well to kind of flag this up, that children do need this support in order to be able to take advantage of everything that they could in relation to the online. So obviously, going to the more negative sides, there are things that children do online, which can create risks for them. But facing risk doesn't always mean that they are harmed or they feel upset by the experience. And here you can see the kind of the relationship between the number of risks and how upset children feel about it. And you can see sometimes children can be exposed to more risk, but be less upset about this. And that is because some of them have been able to build resilience or have received a better support about their digital engagement. So the next project I want to talk to you about is called Diora, and we're looking at mental health and the relationship with the digital environment. So here we're actually finding strong evidence that it's not about how much time young people spend online, and it's not only about what they do when they're online, but it's also how it makes them feel that actually matters, and it reflects on their mental health. So positive feelings, for example, they were most frequently experienced by the young people, and they were also linked to reduced depression and better well-being. So when young people are engaging online, for example, socially, and it makes them feel appreciated, that actually increases their well-being. Negative feelings, on the other hand, are about, they can be two types: negative feelings about myself, like I'm feeling stupid, or negative feelings about the overall environment, like feeling the stress online, for example, feeling sad or feeling discouraged. These, while they are less frequent and experienced less by children and young people, in fact, they're linked to poorer mental health and reduced well-being. So it's kind of straightforward and it's kind of intuitive finding, but it's also important to unpack that some children might experience the risk but not have these negative feelings about themselves or the world. On the other hand, if we reduce overall engagement, we might be taking away these kind of positives from them. So the effects on well-being in depression, interestingly, were independent and related to different factors. And what that means is that if you're doing something that would decrease the negative effect on mental health, it does not necessarily mean that your child will feel good about it. There are different things that contribute to the well-being of your child and reducing the negative impact. So there's a balance between kind of different things that they need to be doing online. So the most frequent activities that they do online are the social interactions when they're chatting to friends or family, and these are actually positively associated with well-being. Young people kind of find the positives of that, and it affects them in a kind of good way that boosts their well-being overall. Making social comparisons was interestingly coming up as one of the also frequent but kind of linked to depression and some symptoms that are reducing well-being. So when young people are comparing themselves with others online, it usually kind of creates a negative experience. And the last thing I want to mention is a project that we did on digital literacy and mental health, because we were interested whether there's certain skills that we can teach young people about engaging online, about staying safe, that can improve their well-being. And we spoke to 62 people in Norway and the UK. And interestingly and quite reassuringly, we found that young people who are experiencing mental health difficulties are actually gradually developing skills over time. And the younger kids seem to know less about the digital environment and were a bit more vulnerable. While the older they became, the more experience they had behind them, the more competent they became. Also, they were learning specific digital skills that they reflect their mental health experiences. For example, if they were struggling, they would engage with more positive content to boost themselves up. and to feel good. They were also kind of working very strongly to keep their feeds positive, trying to stay away from negative content. So I have a quote here from a girl aged 17 who says that on Twitter, sometimes there are things that are trending, which are ways to cope. And she found a way to save those and bookmark them so they can be easily accessible when she needs something positive. So young people do things like that in order to engage with the positive content and support themselves when they need that. And the quote from a boy is actually saying that we need to allow children to make mistakes. He's saying, how can I develop without making mistakes? I have to learn. Because there's not always going to be somebody to support me. And young people feel quite empowered by being able to learn themselves. But obviously, we don't want to leave them kind of hanging in difficult situations. They need to have the ability to kind of learn where they want to, but also have the help available to them. So we also found that the digital skills that young people have were also entwined with other psychosocial life skills. So the learning online takes place during a time where developing, where they're exploring, and sometimes they're taking risks, and sometimes they're making themselves vulnerable because they are kind of learning and they're growing and they're kind of exploring, and that also has to be fine sometimes. So we also find that young people are learning to recognize their own triggers of what makes them kind of feel negative online. And while this is a digital skill, we also thought that it also combines a lot of knowledge about oneself and understanding of quite complex digital environment. And young people were kind of really try to develop this skill and understand their own triggers. So we were able to develop resources from this project. One is, findings from young people to young people, and the other one is for professionals. But I think parents can learn a lot from the information in these sources as well. So I've put the QR code. And just to end for the last couple of minutes of my talk, what can parents do? Having all this information, what is it that actually we need to be kind of thinking about when we are discussing digital issues with children? So one very important point for me is to talk about their online experiences rather than strictly monitoring or regulating how much time they spend online. We need to be talking to our kids about what did they do online and how is that making them feel. So developing this kind of self-awareness and being able to spot when digital engagement is negative or positive, in fact. Is a really good skill that they need to kind of build in relation to the digital, but also kind of more generally in their life. So these are kind of fruitful conversations that you heard from the kids. They don't want to be told no, they want us to have an understanding. And, looking at the effects of digital engagement, positives and negatives, will help you do that. I think parents can also encourage the positive activities. They can help young people find digital places that make them feel good. They support their kind of communities. They support their skills, or they support their creative sides. The social comparison, I said, has a link to negative effects on depression and well-being. So I think we need to discuss this with children and remind them that people often share their best moments online, and they are aware of this, but still fall into the trap of these comparisons, which has really negative effects. So we need to kind of bring this up again and again. We need to support children when they're facing harm. We need to encourage them to have open conversations and to feel safe to share what they have experienced without facing judgment. And also we need to model a balanced digital habit with them by our own kind of experience of modeling good examples for them, but also to tell them that the digital can be a positive tool when it's used in a very mindful way. So I want to thank you for listening to me. And again, it was a very kind of busy, this is kind of all the important things that I want to share with you. But I'm hoping that there's some kind of good tips in there. And I'm happy to answer any questions or responses from parents. Maybe I missed some of the important points that they have been thinking about.
Thank you so much, Mariya. It's really interesting. And I just in terms of your research, how recent is the research that you're referring to at the moment? Is that relatively recent?
So there, I mentioned several projects. So Global Kids Online has been going on from 2016 up to now. There's still kind of countries doing the research. The Diora project that I mentioned on the mental health is currently ongoing. We're still collecting data from this project, and we're actually collecting data over a period of 1 year. So what this will help us do is actually see whether digital engagement drives changes in mental health, or is the other way around? Because if a child is feeling down, for example, they might reach out to more kind of negative content online as well. So we'll be able to unpack the chicken and the egg question.
Which comes first,
after this.
Yeah. Rabib, sorry, has a question. Do you work on bullying in social media?
We have done research in the past on bullying and social media. There's a lot of research on bullying. And I have to say that for me, this is not necessarily a digital problem, because in many contexts, bullying face-to-face is still more prominent than bullying online. However, bullying online has its kind of additional issues and problems, because children tend to, when they used to go home and be free from kind of in-person bullying, now they're not free from this kind of harassment at any point, because online kind of carries on with them. And also once something happens online, it kind of carries on and on. So I do think that digital has an additional angle to cyberbullying, but the approaches that we've had to tackle with this, both as parents and as kind of educators or policymakers, are kind of very similar to what we could be doing for face-to-face bullying as well.
Thanks. Just a final thing, the resources that you referred to there that you developed as a result of the research, they're available for others to use, aren't they?
Oh yes, absolutely. They are freely available online. I can share the presentation, so there's a QR code there. And yeah, we worked with them. Once we had the findings from the project, we went to young people and spent the whole day with them, being pulled to pieces and criticized about how we should do things differently. And I loved it, every single minute of it. So they helped us coin these kind of messages and think about the different stakeholders that they want to be engaged and they want to be thinking about their digital environment.
Yeah, thanks very much for your generosity. Okay, then I think we'll move on quickly to our third presentation of the afternoon. So I'm delighted to welcome Jeroen, Herman and Karen Linten from Mediawijs to talk about the MediaNest program. I'm not sure who's coming first. Is it Jeroen? Over to you, Jeroen.
It's Karen.
Karen, over to Karen.
Yes. Hi, yeah, we will have like a shared presentation there, so we will just switch in between. Let me share the presentation here with you. There we go. All right, so we've heard from research. Now we really want to dive into practice as well, like to show you one of the initiatives we have, a specific media parenting initiative that we have in Flanders. So that's why my colleague Jeroen and I are here to tell you all about it. We want to explain a bit what it is, also give you a closer look at some of our conversation starters that we have, because as you'll find out, conversation is one of the key ingredients of our initiative. And we also want to take a closer look at all the different things we try to do to reach parents. First of all, for us, it's always very important to stress that media parenting is a very important part of parenting, and that still for many parents, it's kind of like an uncharted territory, that they feel like it might not be their place to do anything about it, that their child might know more about the digital world and that they might not have a role to play there. So it's very important for us to share that they do have a role to play there, and that it's very important to guide them and to support them in this role. And we really want to take into account that each parent and each child is very different, and that they all have different styles and needs. So that's why with the MediaNest initiative, we really try to look at all different ways to reach parents, but also to support them in a way that suits them best. Now, MediaNest is an initiative that we have in Flanders in Belgium, so in the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. And what we noticed there when MediaNest originated almost 10 years ago was that there was a lot of scattered information online, so many different project websites. And that, yeah, of course, parents were very busy and they needed accessible information. So they needed like a clear place to go to. So that's why at that point, we decided to work together with a lot of Belgian partners to make sure that there was one place where parents could find all the relevant information about their child's digital life and how to accompany them in this. So that's why with more than 20 partners, we created MediaNest.be, a website for parents in Flanders and Brussels with like a common vision on media parenting with all these partners. So as you can see, you have like the website here and you have like different themes or topics and you can also filter through the age of your child and you have also a search bar to look for relevant information there. I said we have like a shared vision on media parenting with all those partner organizations. There are three main elements for us. When we talk about media parenting, we really try to start from a positive view on media use with, of course, attention for the risks that are occurring and the challenges that there are, but we really try to encourage parents to look on the positive side, to really look at all the opportunities that media has for their children and start from that point. In Dutch, we have like an expression of putting on your pink glasses to say like try to look at a positive angle towards it. A second one is that we really try to empower parents and other educators to that they do have a role to play, that they know more than they think they know, and that it's not that different from regular parenting, because it's the case with media parenting in general. But for instance, in one of the questions, cyberbullying was mentioned. We notice with teachers, with parents, that they often know what to do when there's a case of bullying, but as soon as it's like online bullying or cyberbullying, then it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Whereas actually it's not that different. And it's the same for other topics within media parenting. So we really try to stress that it's not that different, and to have some examples of like, okay, how would you do this? And then it's an offline example. And then we try to transfer it into an example of what it's like concerning the digital life of their child. And then a third one, I already mentioned it in the beginning, but for us, conversation really is key. It's like the main ingredient for us of media parenting is the conversation between a parent and their child on what they're doing online, on what they're worried about, on sharing experiences together and talking about them. As I mentioned, like everyone is different, every parent is different, they have a different need. So that's why we try to have a lot of different types of content so that everyone has a way of that they can consume the information they would like. So for instance, we have articles, but we also have testimonies from parents. We have some videos, we have some quizzes, we have some tools, conversation starters, to make sure that there's something for every one on the different topics, and that everyone can consume the information in the way they would like. I mentioned like all the topics before, so here you have like a quick overview of all the different kind of topics that we have online on the website to support parents. And here you can also see some example questions of like what are questions that we address for parents on this website. Maybe, yeah, we try to start from the question that parents have. We try to talk to them, but it's not always that easy as a small organization to talk to parents directly. So in support of what we can do and what we hear from questions from other organizations who work with parents. We also have like an own research every other year where we question parents in an online survey, and then also do some interviews to see like what is the media usage in your family like, and also what are you worried about. And what are you doing in your family on media parenting? And this year we will have new results again, and we will also have a specific focus on parents of children with a disability and also vulnerable parents to make sure that we can address their needs as well. And so this is really the base for what the content we create, the initiatives we take. And so, for instance, it's in Dutch, since the research is also in Dutch, but here you can see like their top 3 concerns, and then we split it out through age groups, and then we can see like screen time is really a main thing. But if we go to the teens, then you see that like the effect of social media, both on their physical and mental health, becomes very important. And you see that you have like different topics to discuss at different age groups, and it really gives us great guidance in what are the most important things to address. Jeroen will tell you a bit more about all those conversation starters we have, since for us that's one of the most important parts of media parenting.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Karen. To address all those concerns from parents, we try to create some conversation starters, since it's also one of the 3 principles in our vision on media parenting. Conversation is key. So we have many articles on how to get conversations started with your children, but also in families. For example, the first conversation starter is called the Pret Chat. It's a truth, dare, do game where we address some questions on social media, screen time, and devices. And with this tool, with this game, parents can get the conversation started on those questions that are on the screen. Since it's sometimes difficult to talk about those topics to your child, we want to help the parents and also educators, since we see that a lot of educators also use this tool to get the conversation started. You can go to the next slide, Karen. Yes, so concretely, it's a set of cards where we have the truth, dare, and do questions and actions, activities. And yeah, you just sit around with your child and go through all the questions, like pick one each time it's your turn. And then you can do the action or say the truth or skip it. And who has the most questions and cards collected at the end wins the game. And to get a little twist, we also had to add some jokers to make it a little bit more exciting. Okay, the next conversation starter is called Screentje Deeltje. It's like screen deal to make deals, to make rules about screen time in your family. And it's an interactive tool to go through. There are 17 questions, and the interesting thing in this tool, you can do this as a parent your own, but also you can let your child go through all those questions. As you can see here on the left, you can give yourself little avatars and add your name. So at the end, for example, here I did a quick go through for 2, for like a parent and a child. And then it collects all the common rules or deals you want to set. And it's like a starting point to get conversation, rules about screen time, and maybe build upon it later. Then the last one I'm going to show you today is about sharing photos of your child. Which parent are you? It's a profile test where we ask some questions. For example, you have here one. of you had photos taken of your child's first birthday, what would you do? We have some questions like this, I think 5 questions or 6 questions. And then at the end, you get a profile of which media parent, which parent you are. There are 4 profiles, and then we give some tips on how you can act. Maybe you should post, you can post this, but maybe think about the portrait rights of your child. So these are 3 conversation starters to get conversation started in a really low threshold manner. These are the last ones I wanted to show you. These are click and prints. These are PDFs that you can just print out with your own printer. And it's about taking this one page with your child together. For example, the first one is about screen time, where your child can color red or green where you want screen time. The second one is a vlogger checklist. If your child wants to be a vlogger, maybe you need to check what if privacy is okay. And then the last one is a TikTok check. Your child wants to have a TikTok account. You can go through these checklists with your child to get conversation started about the topic.
Yeah. So those were some examples of all the things we try to do to enable this conversation between and support this conversation between parents and their children. We really try to have like different tools so that each parent can pick the tool that suits them best, again, or their family best. Lastly, we wanted to to take you through the different ways we try to reach parents, because of course we explained like MediaNest is a website for parents, but of course we know that a website is not a magical solution where each parent will go to and where each parent will find all the information they need. So it really is one part of a bigger investment in reaching out to not only parents, but also a lot of professionals who work with families. So we about the website and about all the content that is on the website, we try to communicate to parents directly on the one hand, and we do that through our social media channels. We have a Facebook and an Instagram page. We see that especially on Instagram, a lot of parents are present. On Facebook, it's less, and we see there that we reach more professionals right now. It was not the case at the beginning, so we had to shift at a certain point to like the current popular channel for most parents. We also have a monthly newsletter since last year, and each month there we try to have like a deep dive on one topic. So it's not that we spread like all new articles on different topics. It's really like this one topic. So it can be how much screen time is okay for my child, or it can be like, I think my child is being cyberbullied, what should I do? So really very concrete questions that they might have, so that they also open it a bit more when they receive it in their inbox, and we really deep dive on that topic. We also have a lot of campaigns trying to reach them, where we try to cooperate with communication agencies and different partners to reach parents in many different ways, and also reach the parents that we don't reach for now. And we are also present in press, so we answer questions that we get from the press, but we also try to have some active collaborations with them. So for instance, here on the right you can see some articles of like, my child is famous online, is an influencer, and then we interviewed together with a journalist, we interviewed the parents of those Flemish famous influencers, and then we really gave their point of view, like, how did you experience your child becoming famous all at once? How do you handle everything that goes along with it? And this was a cooperation with a local newspaper, who then also printed the articles in their newspaper a couple of weeks in a row. And we also had a video of the interview with the two most famous ones. to spread. So for instance, those are ways that we also try to have like a bigger collaboration rather than just the questions if the press is writing an article about a media parenting related topic. And here you can also see an example of one of the campaigns we've had. Last year we created videos with 4 families, so parent with a child, or in this case also here on the screen, one grandparent with their grandchild. And we interviewed them about several topics that are popular among parents. And then we had short videos about them who were spread across a lot of different social media channels. And we reached a lot of parents with this campaign to just give them some basic awareness about media parenting. And we received a lot of great reactions on this campaign. That's what we do for parents directly, but of course that's not the one thing that we do, because reaching parents is a very hard task. So we also try to work together with a lot of professionals who do this on a daily basis, who are very active on a local level. And so it's very important for us to also support them. And that's what we do through then the work. MediaNest is like part of Mediawijs, which is a Flemish knowledge center for media literacy in Belgium, in Flanders. So there on our website of Mediawijs, we also have a lot of information for those professionals. We sometimes give some training, and we try to incorporate the topic of media parenting in those trainings. We have free leaflets that we try to give to them so that they can use it when they talk to parents, when they see parents. We also have every other year, when we launch the new results of the MediaNest Cijfers research, we also have a training day for those professionals fully aimed at media parenting, which is really nice. We will have the second edition of this year as well. So that's something to look forward to again. And also, we don't give trainings to parents ourselves, but we try to give some trainers to people who do so, to give them some new information or support them. And we also refer to the existing trainings that we know for parents through, for instance, our media menu, which is really a menu of workshops about media literacy in general, but then the specific ones for parenting are also in there. In the past, we've also done different things. So we've had a book a couple of years ago, which was also another way to reach parents. And we have within the Belgian Safer Internet Center also a good collaboration with our partner in the French-speaking part. And so they have their own version of the website for parents as well, to support parents. And we try to work together there as well. So yeah, as you can see, like it's a lot, and it's a never-ending story. There's always ways to improve this, but we hope to have inspired you a bit with what we are doing here in Flanders, in Belgium. So if you have any questions for us, we'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen and Jeroen. I think the main question, first of all, is about your materials, because the materials are great. And I think the ideas and suggestions that they have, I think we can almost, Yvonne was asking if it's possible, are they available in English? I think the answer is no. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, they are not available in English for the moment. That's true. But if you're interested in this, we can always try to see if it's possible to provide a translation, or if you'd like to translate them in a certain language, we can definitely arrange that.
Yeah, I think even having access to the to the basic documents and then doing local translation would be great. If we could do something like that, and we'd be happy to facilitate that as well to the association if that makes sense for people. So yeah, thank you very much. We don't have a lot of time. I just want you don't offer a help desk yourselves, do you? MediaNest. Can a parent ring you if they have a problem?
No, it's not a direct help desk indeed. So it's really more on a broad level. For the direct help desks, there are other systems available. We have like a parenting phone line that people can call in case of questions. And then also if it's related to online risks, there's of course a helpline from the Safer Internet Center, which is located at Child Focus on a Belgian federal level. So there's no direct helpline from our side.
Okay, indeed, the Safer Internet Centre, because there's at least one of those in every member state in Europe. So that's something that people should probably reach out to as well in terms of access. Thanks very much. You stay with us until the very end, but I'm delighted then to welcome our fourth and final speaker this afternoon, and that's Nils Rudolf. As I mentioned earlier, he's coming from Germany, from FSM. So I'll hand over to Nils. I'm not going to make a mess out of trying to say the name of your organization in my bad German. So over to you, Nils.
Thank you very much.
I will be sharing the presentation.
Chloe's going to share your presentation indeed. Thanks, Nils. So maybe we put up the first slide.
That would be wonderful.
just a second. It's slow to start. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. We hear good sounds coming. Yep, we're in the right direction.
Yes.
There you are,
Okay.
Nils.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. My name is Nils. I'm from the German Association for Voluntary Self-Regulation of Digital Media Service Providers, FSM. Yeah. And the FSM is a non-profit association concerned with the protection of young people in online media. And we are also an established contact for many market-determining companies, as well for political actors in Germany and Europe. Yeah, here's an overview about our activities. We provide our members with legal, technical, and pedagogical advice. We represent them international and national committees. We operate a hotline for harmful or illegal online content. And while I'm here, we do promotion of media literacy. And we are member funded, and we also receive some funding from the European Union and some national funding. Yes, these are our media literacy projects. We have Elternguide.online, which is Parent Guide Online, the one I'm going to talk about later and why I'm here today, because I'm going to present this project. And then we have Medien in die Schule, which is media in the school, and Weitblick, which is our network for digital media and opinion forming. And for us, media literacy is an essential building block for the effective protection of children and young people online. Yeah, we also do some research. It's totally fine. Next slide, please. Yeah. For example, we did our Youth Media Protection Index in 2022, representative study and survey, which provides us with data on concerns about online use, the attitudes towards protection of minors in online media, and then related knowledge and online skills and the actions. Thank you. So yeah, so we know what are the concerns that parents have, and we know which are the experience that young people and children have online. And we know that the commitment to protective educational actions is getting lower the older the child gets. And our derivation is that parents probably are overwhelmed with the demands that they are confronted with. And that is where our Elternguide.online or Parent Guide Online applies. Yeah. Yes, so Elternguide.online is a cooperative project with the project partners ClickSafe, the awareness campaign, the German Children Fund, FragFin, which is AskFin. This is a children's search engine. The JFF, Institute for Media Research and Media Education, and other voluntary self-regulation institutions, the ones for television, the film industry, and entertainment software. And our aim with Elternguide.online is to answer questions that parents have about the media use by their children. And we also want to stimulating dialogue as MediaNest wants to. And yeah, we want to provide parents and carers with information on the age-appropriate and safe use of apps, games, websites, social networks. And yeah, we also provide these information age differentiated and needs orientated. And we host virtual parents evenings and webinars on relevant topics. We have over 500 articles and tool descriptions. There are weekly updates. Elternguide.online is free and non-commercial. In 2024, we had over 120 visits. And Elternguide.online was supported till last year by Meta, but there's no influence on our content and the partners are editorially independent. Yeah. So here is a look on our website. Yeah, advice and support for parents and carers. We have like formats like parents ask and we answer. If you can go on the next slide, please. Yeah, so if you are you're visiting our website for the first time, there are search and filter functions, so you can choose or select so for which age group are you looking for, which topic, which kind of media and which format. So do you want an article, you want a tool description, you want something audio, or you want a video? Yeah, next. Yeah, as you can see, these are all the things we have information provided. And then we have also a guided tour. So that's a video actually, if you can, yeah. So you can start a guided tour and get step by step through the website. So first step, you select the age group you're looking for on information. Next step is then what it is about. Is it media in the family, online safety, or, you know, and then as you can specify what you want to know. And then you get some information. Maybe you can run, yeah. And yeah, then there are all the informations you may want, or hopefully you want. Yeah. So next slide, please. Yeah. So here's the guided tour and pictures as well. So yeah, we have a desk online. So if parents have further questions or more specific questions, they can contact us via WhatsApp or Threema, and we are on Facebook and Instagram as well. And yeah, and we host virtual parents evenings. There are regularly and live online events with parents from all over Germany. There are 6 a year. They're on a focus topic and with practical tips from experts, and they're about 1 hour. They take place in the early evening from 5 to 6 p.m. most of the time, and they're like 45 to 50-minute input and presentation, and then there's room for exchange. Last year we had 450 parents participating, and we are really proud that we received really good feedback so far, as you can see. And yeah, and then Elternguide.online is also available in English because last year inclusion was a big topic for us. So yeah, now our articles are translated into English via DeepL. So this is an automatic translation, but we choose DeepL because so we can secure that the articles are in proper English, and that's why we are not using Google Translator. Yeah, because we can check and we can edit things. And next, yeah, thank you. Elternguide.online is also available. Some articles are available in easy to read language. Yeah, concerning inclusion. So, and for today's topic was also a bit like preparing for emerging challenges. So we already have some articles concerning these topics, AI, VR, and AR. Like the last article about concerning AI was about deepfakes from February, and we have some tool descriptions about ChatGPT and AI creative tools. So yeah, that's it so far. I hope I'm in time.
Yeah, you're well on time. Thank you very much. It's a really interesting resource, and also the fact it's nice that you can make it available in English for others to use as well. So thank you so much. Yeah, we have some questions in from Franco, but we're going to put that to the full group. This is one thing I wanted to check with you. So you offer actually then a service to parents. Parents can contact you directly. Is that very popular? Do you get a lot of calls?
So there's no phone calls, but yeah, they can contact us via WhatsApp and Freema. And this is maybe like 5 a month, I think, so far.
So not so many for the moment.
No.
Yeah. Okay, great. You're going to stay with us, and we're going to actually spotlight then all of our presenters this afternoon. Thanks so much for the whistle stop guide across 4 different really interesting and relatable and relevant experiences around supporting parents. Franco, first of all, a couple of questions came in from him, and I just wanted to put them to you. First of all, do any of you offer practical tools for parents to monitor their children's online activities, screen time? Does anybody offer any of that? No, probably.
But is it like monitor their screen time without violating their privacy? And I think that's a very interesting question, since there are a lot of parental control opportunities there. So there's a lot of things that we can do to technically support some of the rules that there are at home. But there, without violating their privacy, is like a very interesting remark that we need to take into account there. So for us, like parental control tools like a Google Family Link or the other, like Apple Screen Time, or the other tools that are available, are really like a starting point for a conversation again, and should always happen in conversation with your child, to make sure that they know what those settings are, what you use at what point. Because if they don't, and then there is a problem, and if you see that there's a problem or you encounter something, then that might lead to like a breach in trust that there is between you and your child. So I think you definitely can use some of those tools, as long as it's like in a conversation with your child, and that they know, like, okay, so these are the rules we have in the family, or this is what we agreed on, and maybe this can help me to do that. And then you can use, for instance, a screen time parental control.
That's the important message, I think, here, isn't it, Karen, throughout all? Yeah, it's part of the conversation. He was also asking about educating parents to recognize danger. You know, how do you help a parent know what is potentially dangerous or not? It's a very general question, but I understand the thinking behind it. So that's what parents need to know. Mariya, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
I wanted to continue the point that Karen was making about the parental controls, if I may, first. Because we did a review of the evidence of how efficient parental controls are for what they're promising to do. And we did find some evidence that they're efficient to reducing some risks like cyberbullying. So there's evidence around that, which can be reassuring for parents. But there was also evidence that they're reducing online opportunities for kids. So they're limiting what they can do online, and also increasing some risks, such as family conflict. So as Karen was saying, so it's very important for the child to be able to understand why these tools are being used and what is the result of that, and for them to have a say in how these tools are managed, for them to actually work, because otherwise you're not really scaffolding their learning, and you're actually creating family conflicts around these tools. And how to make parents aware of the risks, for me, is always about talking to your child in a way that is actually intuitively interested in their experiences and interested both in the positives and negatives. You can't just have a conversation about the things that are dangerous for them online, because they're just not going to be coming forward. But if you have a broader conversation and acknowledge the kind of the positives, the things that they can do with their friends and enjoy, I think they'll be more forwarding with the negative stuff as well.
Yeah, I think Yvonne's video made that very clear insofar as that let's not always talk about the negatives, let's talk about the positives as well. It's really important. And thanks to you about the article, tips for parents in using parental control. Maybe have a look at that as well too. I know Franco was also interested in the question of for teachers and what practical tools can we provide them with insofar as helping children be able to cope better with the internet. I think that's subject of kind of a slightly different conversation, unless anybody here has anything they'd like to add on that for teachers. I think you're all probably working with schools as well. Any quick comments on that?
Yeah, if I might,
Karen,
I'm sorry, I cannot find where I should raise my hand, so I'm just doing it like this.
It works too, don't worry.
I think there are a lot of great resources out there for teachers in like all the different countries. So also again there, I think your local Safer Internet Center is a great place to go to as a starting point to find all those resources, and maybe also to reflect back on the question about recognize the warning signs. For us, really, one of the most important things is having those regular conversations. So in Flanders, we often say, like, every day you ask your child, how was your day at school? So why not introduce the question, how was your day online? Because for children, it's an equally important part of their day. And that might help you as well to quickly recognize when something might be wrong or when they might encounter a problem online.
Yeah, I think that point about not how much time did you spend online today, but rather what did you do online today is more important. Yvonne, I see you nodding. You want to add anything?
I was just going to add, you know, when you were saying there about the kids when they were talking about what they wanted their parents to do, right? You know, they said one of the things that drives them nuts is, let's say something went wrong on Snapchat. But the first thing they've got to do is explain to their parent what Snapchat is. And then by the time they've explained that the message disappears and this is what happens, and they're so frustrated by the time they've done that, then the conversation is completely derailed. So one of the things is even simple things as a parent, like, you know, here's a guide to Snapchat, you know, or here's a guide to Facebook. So you write a post and somebody likes, and because even just that explanation is something that absolutely drives the kids wild. And by the time they've done that, they're so frustrated with all the questions that the conversation isn't where we want to be. So I think that's really important. And then also just Franco was saying about some of the materials for teachers. Most of our stuff is available for teachers. So teachers are very welcome to just pick those up and use them as well. So we've got some materials on Project Real website for that.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Yvonne. Indeed, a lot of the same things apply. Nils, I was just wondering, in terms of, do you offer explanatory materials for parents on how different social media channels work or anything? Is that something you do in FSM?
Yes, we have, like on Elternguide.online, there are several articles about like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, etc., like how the platform works, and they are updated regularly, so they are really up to date. So
yeah,
yeah,
in simple language that explains how it works. Yeah, so yeah, answers the question, I think, doesn't it? I just want to put a question to all of you as well too, because, you know, I mean, all we hear nowadays is AI, and all we hear about is the kind of the dangers and the worries. Just how much has that changed the kind of work that you're doing with parents at the moment, particularly those of you that have been doing it for some time? Do you see parents more worried these days? Does it mean you have to then start looking differently at what you offer? Maybe looking at my friends from Mediawijs first, Jeroen and Karen. Do you specifically hone in on AI these days?
And for now, we didn't receive like a lot of signals that there are that the course of media parenting is shifting based on AI, but more that it might set us back a bit, in the sense that when we started MediaNest, we noticed that they really, like, a lot of parents felt like they didn't have a role to play. We really grew in that sense, and we see that parents are very conscious of what their child is doing online, are more interacting about it with them, are more conscious of what do we do with it. But then for AI, that's like a bit more at the beginning again, like they feel like, oh, my child knows better what to do with it and I don't know how to deal with this. So let's back off for now. So that's really just a bit more at the beginning again, like really reassure them that they do have a role to play there as well. Yeah.
Your research, of course, will be interesting, coming out quite soon, because it'll show whether things have changed in the last 2 years, I suppose. Yeah. Jeroen?
No, I was gonna say with Karen, we're still figuring out how we would, we need to change our shift, or it's just another thing that's added to the online world so that we tackle in the same way. I think it's the last one. The way of parenting stays the same. Media parenting or principles stay the same. Keep the conversation started and going.
Yeah, indeed. Yvonne?
I was going to say that originally most of the research was done on text, right? It's the easiest thing for us to create, and then and back in the day you could be like, oh, that's a bot because it's written like this. Nowadays you can't necessarily tell if it was written by a bot or a person. And then there's whole new skills about, it used to be, well, you can trust it if there's a picture. Oh, not anymore. Oh, well, you can trust it if there's a video. Oh no, not anymore, right? So I think it's not necessarily a completely different thing, but it's just staying on top of how the technology is changing, and how that might affect, the spread of these things, or the safety. Like, I think that's what I was saying. The kids were better at the tech than the adults were, right? So I think that's quite nice that there can then be a conversation. Oh, I didn't know that. It's great to learn that from you. Here's some things you can learn from me as well. And then it's not this one way. The two are kind of working together to upskill themselves. So I think that's quite nice, actually, that it's not just one direction, that there are skills coming in both directions.
Yeah. Mariya, do you see
also, Sorry, I see there's a point in the chat from Antonio about online video games. So they can be interactive and prone to misuse. I think maybe that's come to me because we were messaging like email addresses in a private message. So I just wanted to put that to the team. No, it's fine, Antonio, no problems. So I wondered if anybody had any thoughts about, online video games, which is where a lot of the kids have said that's where their social media and online gaming. And of course, there can be some really great things happening in those spaces, but a lot of chat happening on the thing, or different ways of responding in online games. I wonder if anyone's seen that in their work.
Anyone want to pick that up? Karen?
Yeah, we see that a lot of children are active on online gaming platforms, and we see that in a lot of media literacy interventions across Europe, across the world, but also in media parenting work, gaming is often like forgotten a bit, because it's of course a very important part, but it's also like a kind of a separate world or something. Yeah, I think the same goes for gaming as it goes for social media or other media parenting topics. Like, keep the conversation open, try to maybe play along from time to time to play a game together, because that's the best way to get to know the game that your child is like what they're experiencing within the game. And also there again, you can learn from your child there. So I think that's what we try to do there. But there are a lot of gaps, I think, in the information that is available on what do they encounter within games, because at some level, like, those games also have a lot of social interaction. So you could say there are some social media mechanisms going on there as well. There is a lot of interaction. Also, of course, there's a possibility to have like in-game purchases as well. So it's a very important topic to discuss with your child as well. There was like a very brief answer. I hope that kind of
parents might enjoy it as well too, which wouldn't be a bad thing, to do something fun together. Indeed, Nils, I saw you nodding as well in terms of the gaming side of things. Anything you want to add?
There's nothing to add, but yeah, gaming is a big part, and I think it's important. Yeah, it's a good conversation opener to what are you playing, what are you doing on your phone, which games, and you can play together, and yeah.
Yeah, and just to know, like everything, there's good games and bad games, and there, and variations across. Mariya, anything from you before we close?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's a lot of kind of dangerous design that comes with the gaming. Karen mentioned the loot boxes. There are a lot of playable ads. It's very difficult for kids to distinguish between the advertising and the actual content, not to mention age inappropriate stuff. but just to reassure parents that gaming is not a waste of time. And we have some evidence with the brain imaging that kids are actually learning a lot. And the gamers were the one that they were doing better at cognitive tasks. They were multitasking better. They were able to accommodate different tasks at the same time and kind of doing better with things related to literacy and numeracy as well. So it's not just play. First of all, children's right to play is an important part of their life, but it's not only play when they're gaming, they're socializing, they're learning a lot. If I can reel back to the Gen AI, because I didn't have a chance to say a few words about that, we have a large project which has 16 European countries and 4 countries in the global south looking at the generative AI and what's coming with it. And I have both reassuring and a negative message for parents. So let's start with the downside. I do think that it's creating more risk for kids. And I'll say in what ways. So first of all, we mentioned the misinformation and how difficult it is to distinguish the deep fakes because of the pace and the quality of the outputs of generative AI. The second aspect is that it's highly personalized. So it knows about the child, their engagement, their questions, their interests. So it really targets them based on their interests, making it more difficult for them to realize is a bot, and also making it more trustworthy for the child. And the last kind of dangerous aspect is that for the first time, we have digital technologies which is able on its own to create risk for children. And I'm talking like sexual exploitation images, which are sometimes produced by mistakes. And we have not had this before. So parents need to be aware of these kind of risks. And the good message is you don't need to know everything about AI. You just need the curiosity. I don't think we need to update what we know about literacy very much. I think what we've been teaching children is relevant, and we can just continue. And AI is just one new kind of thing that they need to be aware of, but having conversations with them is super important because they're jumping on these platforms already.
Yeah, thanks. I think, yeah, indeed. Thanks for the Peggy link as well too. That's useful, Karen. I think conversation is the word of the day. Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. We've just come to the end of the time we had today. So Nils, Jeroen, Karen, Yvonne and Mariya, thank you so much for being with us. And thanks to everybody who joined us for the session this afternoon. And of course, to Chloe, who manages to keep everything rolling.